morning. Thank you all for being here. I know last day, really appreciate everyone showing up this morning. And a big thank you to the Media Post team. This is my second time at one of these conferences, first time in Tahoe, but it's always great and really, really appreciate the work that you guys do. If I have not met you yet this week, I am Haley Wiaz. I am the head of media innovation at Scale Marketing. I have been on the agency side my entire career. I started out at Starcom, where I really gained my foundation of the programmatic landscape, working on major retail brands. But when I was ready for a new challenge, I shifted over to the independent side. And I have been with Scale for nearly 5 years now, where I've helped shape our digital practice, our technology relationships, and really our buying philosophy. My current role as head of media innovation, it's new for Scale, it's new for me, but it's really about solving those messy problems, testing new ideas, and are helping our clients push new tech and strategies forward, and really thinking about 12 months out of where we need to be. Before we get into it though, show of hands, when we're talking about planning media, who talks about like channel budget? How about when you're planning your campaigns, talking about like a CTV budget, a display budget? Cool, yeah. Vast majority, us too. But today, this case study is really about when we put that to the side and how we abandoned those traditional ways of planning, broke down our channel silos. I promise I will not try to use too many buzzwords throughout this, but really rethinking how we put those budgets to the side and plan media from the audience perspective, and really when we stop building plans around those channels and start building them around people, even in a complex B2B category like food technology. A little bit about Scale really quickly. We are a boutique full-service performance agency based out of Chicago. We like to say that we were doing performance marketing before it was cool, tying media directly to those business outcomes. Brands typically will come to us when their growth has stalled, and our job is to find new ways to unlock it. Our leadership team comes from business backgrounds outside of traditional agencies like myself, so we've always really thought about how to balance sales overnight with brand over time. And that's exactly how our partnership with ezCater began. 8 years ago, they had world-class search and data science in-house, but they were really looking for new ways to scale. And so what started out as a one-market radio test quickly grew to 4, then national, and eventually led to our relationship as it is today. Before we dive into the case study, though, it's really important to gain an understanding of who ezCater is. They are the #1 food tech platform for workplaces. I don't know for any of the sales folks in the room if you have used them for lunch and learns and things like that, but they help companies of all sizes order from 100,000 restaurants across the country. Like I mentioned, they have been a longstanding client of ours. I've personally worked on their business my entire time at Scale, and over time, we have evolved their media approach, both as their business and the industry have gotten more complex. We've worked with them through many phases of their business and got them through a global pandemic when no one was in the office and ordering food, and that was kind of the last thing that people were thinking about. But like Scale, ezCater is rooted in measurement. Every decision is backed by data, attribution, and testing, which is exactly what we're going to talk about today. Okay.
There's a mission critical.
Okay, we're going to skip past that. Sorry about that. Minor technical difficulties. Okay. Connected TV and high-impact channels were not new to ezCater. They've been a part of our plans for many years, but the way that we have wired and measured campaigns has evolved over the past few years, and our in-platform tools, our DSP reporting, showed us positive signals of success from connected TV that MTA and models were not. And one of those signals was basically when CTV was on the path, in the path to conversion report, the time to convert drastically decreased. So we knew that it was impactful, it was helping move users down the funnel quicker, but how much of it we needed for this audience was unclear. But instead of chasing our tails and architecting sequential messaging or trying to right-size the budget into these different campaigns and tactics, we put our trust in the algorithms and let the platform go to work for this first-party audience strategy. Click a little bit, sorry. Talking about a few of the challenges though, being in the B2B space, ezCater's audience is niche, it's high value. We're actively trying to reach professionals responsible for ordering catering for either their workplace or external, like those lunch and learn moments. High intent is required, but especially in the B2B space, honing in on the right intent signals is really challenging. A lot of those intent signals are based on your consumer behaviors and things like that. So finding it for a food technology platform like ezCater can be super challenging, which is why this entire strategy is centered around their first-party data. These buyers have to have intent. They need a solution, but that doesn't always mean they have awareness. Many don't know that ezCater exists, or like a technology platform like it could help solve their complex catering needs. second set of challenges was rooted in the fact that, similar to majority of this room and a lot of our clients as well, that historically our campaigns were planned by channel. CTV in one bucket, display in another, audio in another one as well, which led to a few problems. We couldn't see or control frequency at the audience level. We made assumptions about what each role the channel played. And so for connected TV, for instance, it's an impactful channel. We all know that. It's always, it's like on the big screen, mounted on your wall, but how people are influenced by it varies. And some people are using ad breaks to get up, go into the other room. Some people jump on their phone and scroll simultaneously. And some actually, sit and watch ads, which is, nice for us. But attribution models also overvalued clicks and undervalued those high impact channels like CTV and audio. And then last, our spend was being underutilized by assigning value up front. So by assigning a budget to CTV, that budget might have been better served in online video or display or vice versa. So we had a few realizations. We know the traditional funnel really no longer exists, and so why define a channel's role up front and try to chase an ideal channel mix, trying to guess of how much of each we needed, when the truth is that equation is different for every single user. And so what actually matters is moving each person to the point of conversion as quickly and efficiently as possible while controlling our costs overall. So not the sequence of touch points, not the fractional credit of each channel, but the actual outcome itself. Or said differently, seeing the forest through the trees, focusing less on each channel's role in isolation and more on the outcome that actually drives that growth. So we flipped our model. We made the audience, not the channel, our North Star. Our philosophy is super simple. Intent and awareness work hand in hand. These are things that we know as marketers. High intent doesn't always guarantee that someone knows your brand, however. So without that awareness, intent will stall. And in a fast-moving B2B space like ezCater's, that could be the difference between winning and losing a customer. This core understanding gave us and the client confidence to move away from a channel-first approach, which lumped this first-party audience, again, into channel-based campaigns with other targeting tactics, often with different goals and budgets. It was efficient in pockets, but fragmented overall. So instead of building those siloed campaigns by channel, we started building around the audience itself. That gave us the flexibility to add in those high-impact channels into this high-intent first-party audience and let real-time performance guide how we invested. And I would say this is like the biggest fundamental shift that we had. When we're planning our monthly, quarterly budgets for this audience specifically, we are no longer talking about how much is going towards CTV, how much is going towards display. We're really talking about this audience itself and how can we continue to improve performance along the way. So the hypotheses at hand were, what if we put first-party data at the center and then coordinate all channels around that data, changing how we fund, manage frequency, measure, so actually changing how we're looking at this within reporting, within MMM models, within the DSP reporting, and put our channel biases to the side. And so by doing that, by putting the audience first, our hypothesis was that we could be able to manage frequency across the full audience, not in silos. We'd be able to expand reach and conversions by having one view of the customer. We would let predictive behavior guide budget allocation instead of fixed channel splits, and ultimately improve CAC by moving people down the funnel faster. But of course, the best strategies will fall flat without the right measurement in place. And here's where our approach really shifted. Again, in the past, we would look at results by channel, CTV performance here, display performance there, and try to piece together how each tactic contributed to the larger puzzle that we're all trying to solve. But the reality is that there is no perfect ratio of CTV, of display, of online video. That balance is going to look different for every single user. And what matters is how efficiently we move each individual through the funnel and how we control costs across the entire system as a whole. So we stopped chasing that fractional value of channel and started measuring at the audience level. Instead of asking what the right amount of CTV is, we asked, did this audience convert faster? Did our CAC improve? Are we spending smarter across the board? And it worked. We used a combination of in-platform metrics, business results in both client and scale MTA and MM models to really triangulate performance across this strategy, weighting results with historical knowledge of how these different tools and reports respond, a little art to the science, and leaning into more granular cuts of that audience data versus at the top line channel level. Yes, we know connected TV is more impactful than a display ad, but that doesn't mean that it needs a fixed budget either. And we really stopped assigning that value up front and let the data prove where the dollars belonged. And the results that we saw were hard to ignore. Our household reach more than doubled year over year by shifting into this omni-channel approach, consolidating our efforts and managing frequency globally at the audience level. And I would say more importantly, our CAC efficiency improved 58%. Just by consolidating our campaign structures and really managing that frequency at the top line level. These weren't just more impressions, they were a signal of reaching more incremental customers, seeing and acting on our messaging. And what made this even more exciting is we were able to invest in high impact channels, not guessing the perfect media mix, but trusting the data to find the fastest route for each user, meeting them where they are in their journey. So some of our lessons and learnings and how we go forward. One of our biggest takeaways, audience habits will shift fast and vary at the user level, so our strategies have to be just as flexible. Giving up rigid channel level budgets was definitely uncomfortable. It took a lot of conversations and recommendations to the client, but we worked hand in hand, and I would say it was necessary in this instance. And we uncovered inefficiencies that we didn't even know existed, and it proved that omnichannel is not just a buzzword, it can be a smarter way to plan. The best performing mix one month, though, may not hold to the next. Audience behavior, we know, changes by user, by seasons, by screen, and even time of day. But really the thread through all of this is that we have to meet the customer where they are and not where your channel plan says that they should be. And so what's next? Today, this framework is fueling other prospecting campaigns, and we're continuing to ask, what does true auto optimization look like when our platforms, the data, and measurement tools can all be connected? How do we keep stress testing channel mix without over-engineering? Our in-house traders and data teams are constantly tweaking media mixes, sitting hand in hand in office, adding that human element to the algorithms that we truly believe in, kind of tying it back to our conversations yesterday around AI. Like, you still have to have that human touch and intuition. And how do we help more marketers get comfortable with fluid, signal-led planning? Scale has always believed in we like to say the symphony of media, and believe that all dollars should be agnostic. And this approach really doubles down on those beliefs. And we've been expanding this way of buying to our other clients and testing it in other pockets. But again, really just truly putting the strategies in the mindset of the consumer themselves and how they consume media and make decisions, not just your tactics on a media plan. And so really to wrap it up, key takeaways, omnichannel, it's not just about showing up on multiple channels. It's great if you can expand your buy into CTV and online video display, but it's really about aligning around your first party data or another really strong data segment that you have seen strong growth with, managing frequency holistically and allowing budgets to flex based on performance. But to make that work, our attribution has to evolve. Without it, we risk undervaluing the role of awareness and high impact channels that drive that long-term growth. And even if it isn't showing up in your MMMs or whatever models you might be using, trying to find other pockets and triangulating data to really paint the full story. At scale, an ezCater, breaking down those silos and trusting our first party data did lead to stronger conversions, smarter investment, and a clearer picture of how audiences actually move. And if there is one thing I hope that you take away from today, it's this: be open to testing new approaches and don't be afraid to rethink how you've always done things. And that's about it. Thank you so much. Really appreciate it. Yeah. A few minutes for questions.
All right, first question's over here.
Hi. I'm from Horizon. I apologize, I did come in a little bit after you started, so just want to start with that if my question's a bit redundant. So I have a favor and then I have a question.
Yeah.
My favor is, can you go back to that slide you had where you had the 3 questions, where it was like 1, 2, 3? You went through that really quickly and I loved it and I wanted to grab it.
Okay, yeah, of course. Got a lot of clicking,
No, it was a great presentation.
Thank you.
Okay, this one,
here we
yes, the 3 questions. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Can I just grab a picture? I'm sorry. Thank you so much. Literally stealing it. This is amazing. Okay. My question for you is, I loved everything you were talking about, and I think that's the goal for everybody, right? Like, I feel like you accomplished something of just getting them to get away from the rigidness that is from traditional mediums and like looking at it truly of letting the data go and being so fluid in optimizations. So I'm really curious in how you're having those conversations, because I feel like an unspoken thing, and sometimes is a very spoken thing with clients, is they want to get the ROI on the creatives that they invested in making.
Yeah.
So it's that they want to spend a lot of budget in CTV because it was really expensive to make those CTV ads. So is that a conversation you guys had with the clients that you had to kind of adjust with them?
It's a really good question, and I would say it's definitely a conversation we've had, and this took a lot of thoughtful conversation and recommendations to put forward. I would say it was a little bit easier for this audience because it just had such high intent signals, and we were continuing to see that growth with it. And we were running, CTV, but it was just like lumped into another campaign. And so it was like, I think it was a bit of an easier talk track to say like, hey, what happens if we actually like consolidate this into a one campaign view where we can optimize frequency across each channel and touch point, and let the like algorithms really decide what is the best ad to show them next. And I think it kind of like negates the conversation of the cost that they put into the creative. If we're driving, a better efficiency in CAC and ROI long term, I think it helps them at least internally with those conversations across their teams. I would say that we run into that challenge though with some of our other clients, and even with ezCater and some of our other campaigns. Like we know that certain channels still do have a role. Like I'm not saying rip up all your channel plans by any means, but I would say if you have the signals to know that like this is a high intent audience, like they're ready to convert, trying to find them like where they are versus assigning that value up front, I would say, is what really helped us talk about it.
Thank you.
Yeah.
When you say you consolidated campaigns, just to make sure I understand, were you in the same platform and they were just different campaigns and you put it into one campaign, or were they across platforms and you were truly consolidating into one?
A little bit of both.
Okay.
We've tested this audience across a few different platforms in the past, but before we launched this test, everything was running in the same platform but disparate campaigns, and so we lumped it into one campaign and had the ability to opt into like a frequency optimizer pretty much, so like really optimized, not just like a frequency cap, I would say it's a little bit different, but like really optimize like the next best ad to show someone based on their propensity to convert.
Are you able to say the platform that it was in?
I can't.
Figured I'd ask.
All right, any other questions? Oh, right
One
here.
more.
Hi, Travis from Nano. This seems like, you mentioned signal-led, and it's very audience first, and obviously this use case is first party. What are you finding in terms of like how to enrich that data, like the type of signals to enrich to learn more? Is it certain types of market research? Is it like true enrichment? Like how are you learning more about that audience over time and the types of enrichment, understanding that audience over time? Like what sources are really helpful, and how are you looking at in terms of just enriching that audience and learning more about it? Like what tools, and how do you look at that?
Yeah, it's a good question, and I think we talked about that in a session yesterday too, or someone brought it up on a panel actually, I think, about like the future of programmatic buying, like being led by those like research panels and things like that. And I would say that is still a blind spot. We know that this first party audience again is like super high intent. It's it's based on their first party signals and everything like that, and on their site. But so I think that gave us the confidence, but we could always be doing more to learn more about that consumer and like who's actually coming in and converting. And I'd say that that's still a blind spot, I would say, across the industry too, and how we can find more of those like enrichment points for the data. I would say like that's all, like I welcome it. But we have started to like lean into the strategy too for some of our third party audiences as well, for ezCater, and just trying to explore, are we seeing the same success and things like that? And so far we are, which is great. But again, I would say it's still a little bit of a blind spot.
All right, thank you.
Thank you. Cool.